Welcome back, lore lovers, to Liandrug, the place where the forgotten echoes of the Imperium whisper their truths. Today, we plunge into one of Warhammer 40k's deepest enigmas, the tale of the Lost Primarchs, two sons erased from records, two legends buried beneath millennia of secrecy. Who were they, what happened, and why has the Imperium tried so hard to make us forget? In the dark vaults of Imperial history, there are two silences louder than war drums, the Second and Eleventh Legions, known only as the Forgotten and the Purged. They have been stricken from memory, erased by order of the highest powers in the Imperium, through an edict of obliteration, damnatio memoriae. This decree in High Gothic is a formal condemnation of memory itself, a method of annihilation reserved for those deemed excommunicate traitors. Names, symbols, monuments, everything must vanish, and so the Second and Eleventh were deleted from Imperial records with such thoroughness that even among legends they are little more than echoes. Yet fragments remain. In the 41st millennium, a curious entry slipped into copies of the Astra Militarum's uplifting primer, hinted at an ancient truth. The Second and Eleventh Legions once fought during the Rangdan Xenocides, great purging wars of the Great Crusade. The records offer no detail, just a name and a shadow of involvement in that brutal conflict. During the Great Crusade, atop the waterfalls of the Kathmandu precinct on Terra, Rogaldorn passed beneath statues honoring each of his brothers. Two plinths stood empty. No one ever spoke of those two absent brothers. He reflected, had their tragedies been warnings left unheeded? Their absence is more than physical. In 1,000 Suns, at the triumph of Ulanor, Magnus the Red mentions how rare it is for 9 Primarchs together. Mortarion cuts him off, reminding him that they are forbidden to speak of the others. The edict was clear. Even among brothers, silence was law. The first heretic gives more weight to the timeline. The last legions were already purged at least 4 decades before the Dropsite massacre. During the censure of Lorgar and his ward bearers at Monarchia, only 18 legions are referenced. In a moment of dread, Lorgar confides in Magnus. We would be cast alongside the brothers we no longer speak of. Among the Legion Astartes, rumors stirred. Around the time of the erasure, the Ultramarines swelled in size, eclipsing all others. Whispers suggested the ranks of the Forgotten were quietly folded into Guilliman's Legion. Whether true or not, it does not explain the fate of their Primarchs. In shadowed conversations between the ward bearers, truths were danced around. The 11th Legion is expunged for good reason, one muttered, as is the second. Speculation rose. If a single sword thrust into a Primarch's pod could prevent shame, would it be done? Others wondered if their silence had only fueled the rise of the 13th. But their names are gone, their statues removed. Their stories, if any remain, are locked behind seals no one dares break. Only silence and the hollow spaces they left behind, whispers of the lost. In the labyrinthine dark beneath the earth, Ferus Manus wandered alone. In feet of iron, the Primarch of the Iron Hands came upon a hidden chamber, lost to time. There, in solemn silence, stood 20 statues, each masked, yet unmistakably familiar. He knew their forms, their stance, their presence, all but 2. The faces of these 2 were shattered, their masks broken and defaced, as if time itself sought to forget them. On another battlefield in Fear to Tread, the burden of secrets weighed heavy on Sanguinius. Horus saw the angel slay one of his own, driven mad by a flow that clawed at the soul of the Blood Angels. Sanguinius, anguished, confessed he had hidden the truth of the Red Thirst from all, even from the Emperor. When Horus pressed him, asking why he wouldn't seek their father's aid, the angelic Primarch's reply was laced with fury. He would not let his sons vanish into history, not suffer the fate of a third last name beneath the hegemon's vaulted halls. Long before the Great Crusade reached its crescendo, in descents of angels, Tahariel listened intently as brother Israfel spoke of the galaxy and its histories. In that moment, the lion was still one of 20 brothers. The records still remember the lost, their erasure yet to be complete. If you are enjoying the dive into the shadows of the Imperium, don't forget to like and subscribe, lore lovers. Every click fuels the Astronomicon and helps Liandrug grow so I can keep telling you more stories from the darkest corners of the lore. Hints of what befell them echo in Legion. A warning delivered in quiet conversation. There had been precedents. Legions had faltered before. Shane, speaking to Lord General Namatira, urged caution, recalling that even Astartes were not beyond censure or dissolution. And in Prospero Burns, as Magnus's fate neared its fall, Ras was asked whether he feared brother fighting brother. His answer was grave and spoken with the weight of memory. It was not unprecedented. His wolves had been loosed once before. Caspar Hauser, observing the Imperium's might, spoke of the fortress homes of the 18 legions, each a bastion of strength. The number said more than words. The missing two were already gone, their existence reduced to silence long before the heresy consumed the galaxy. In the outcast dead, even the scholars of the mind saw the pattern. Gregoras, reflecting on Magnus's transgression, predicted that the wolves would be unleashed again. The Emperor's chosen executioners always kept near, for moments when brother might need to turn against brother. Corax, in Deliverance Last, remembered his first meeting with the Emperor. There was joy in learning he had siblings, 17 others, the Emperor said. But Corax hesitated. He had always been the 19th. The Emperor's gaze darkened. The other two, that was all he would say. The matter, too heavy for the present, was left for a day that would never come. From this it was clear. By the time Corax was found, the last were already gone, their memory buried, their names erased. The tragedy had unfolded in the early days of the Great Crusade, before the dream of unity had fully bloomed. Lastly, in Vulcan Leaves, amidst the fire and blood of Karatan, the Salamander's Primarch confided in his equerry. Vulcan had seen the storm brewing in the hearts of his brothers, especially in Curse. Numeon urged him to speak to Horus or Dorn, but Vulcan refused. The weight of two erased brothers was grief enough. Another sanction, another empty pillar, was a wound he would not bear to see inflicted again. In the depths of Macrage's fortress, within a chamber crafted to seat the Emperor and his 20 sons, Robert Gilliman showed Lion L. Johnson a table draped in the seal of Terra. 21 great chairs stood, each adorned with the heraldry of a legion, save for two. Their pennants were blank, bleached, forgotten. When the Lion asked of them, Gilliman answered simply, their absence must be marked. That is simply honor. Far from Krage, Jagatai Khan pondered the burden of empire. 18 brothers, he mused, not 20. That number had long been silent. In the void above Baal, 20 blood angels stood watch. When the knight-errant Tilos Rubio arrived bearing a rare black scroll, it was said that such messages had only come twice before, to two other legions whose names had since vanished. Their homeworlds must once have received those final decrees, perhaps marking their doom. Within the Imperial Palace, deep beneath the golden towers, lay the remnants of the Emperor's first laboratory. Caleb, an agent of Malkador, saw etched into the sealed door the sigils of the legions. Two had been erased. When he asked, Malkador only walked on. Even the great cartography of war etched in the Book of Betrayal concealed their fate. Where the names of the legions were written, Second and 11 bore only black bars, long enough to hint at once great titles, now lost. Maps showed a site called the Finding of the Lost, perhaps Alfarius or perhaps another. Old chronicles speak of redacted events, where the Space Wolves, the Emperor's executioners, took part. Perhaps these were the silent endings of those forgotten legions, and yet Magnus once spoke with Lorgar, hinting that the erasures came long before those events, as though they had always been ghosts in the archives. Some say one failed in the earliest trials of Jin Sid, noted in the hidden history of the Alpha Legion. Others whisper of a flawed experiment or a dark secret, buried in the Emperor's attempt to forge perfect warriors. The Rangdan Xenocides, a cataclysmic war in the eastern fringe, devoured entire legions. Records redact who was lost. Perhaps one legion fell there, swallowed by a war that nearly shattered the Imperium. An old dreadnought of the 12th Legion once said, twice before the Emperor purged his sons, and every soul that followed them, a chilling echo of silence. In the wake of Gilliman's resurrection, He reminded the priest Matthew, "I was one of 20. 2 failed, half the rest turned traitors." To the artificial mind of the Cole inferior, even centuries later, the gene stock of those erased legions remained. When Cole proposed to revive them, Guilliman refused. "The Primarchs were at fault," said the machine, "not the gene seed." Even in stone, their absence endured. In a hall of statues, Rogal Dorn stared at 2 empty plinths. When Malkador once counted the loyal legions, he sighed. "Would that it were 15. Dorn answered quietly, "I know." What had befallen them? An accident, a failure, betrayal. The truth, like their names, remains erased, but the silence they left behind still echoes across the stars. And so, the tale of the Lost Primarchs remains incomplete, a silence louder than any scream. If this mystery stirred your curiosity, show some love by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And if you're hungry for more forbidden knowledge, join our Discord, where I'm trying to create a cozy haven where lore lovers like you gather to unravel the secrets of the universe, one theory at a time. Until next time, this is Liandrug, signing off from the shadows of the dark future.